What up, man? We back with episode 2 of, I don't know what to call this thing yet, Dope Convo. But we're about to dive into some things tonight. What up? Good evening, good night. How y'all doing? Tonight's topic is what's love. We're going to kind of keep it, continue on with what we talked about last week as far as, what's that, we're out of order. So my man Clyde had the idea tonight. I think he brought it up in the text of kind of the context that he wanted to speak on, but we'll see when he hop on here in a second. But hope everybody's week is going well. I appreciate everybody out there, you know what I'm saying? I cross paths with that tell me they kind of check out the content on my pages and the podcast episode, and it kind of, you know, and it's thankfully it's doing what, you know, what I would like it to. And thank y'all, man. Like, y'all words of encouragement, they do help. I still be surprised that y'all check it out. So when y'all ask me and I say it, I really am like, you watch that? So nah, man. So I appreciate you. Tonight we have originally we had our two other guests on tonight, but they got jammed up at the last minute. Marcus, he has a radio interview to do to promote the nonprofit, but the mentoring program and everything going on with Redesigning Minds. So that's dope. My homie Shanair, she got jammed up at work documenting you know, what nurses do. So we're gonna run with it tonight with me, Clyde, Kay. We're going to touch on the topic of what's love. No, I was reading the text message from Kay. Hey, Kay, that's cool. I don't even care. Hop on you. I'm giving it how I got it too, so it ain't even. I'll have no energy tonight. But nah, we on here tonight, so we're gonna try to make it interesting. Tonight, Thursday nights again are kind of like more of a group conversation. Sundays are more than one-on-ones. I have a dope one-on-one coming up on Sunday with my guy Reddy. He's a pharmacist. He owned one of the fastest growing pharmacies in I think U.S. history or something like that. But you know, it all got taken down through some unfortunate incident. So I can't wait to get you guys that story. Talking about how he bouncing back mentally from losing $70 million overnight over situations that he had no control over. So it also brings highlight the racism that's going on, not just amongst African Americans, but this racism stuff going with it. Everybody get a little taste of it, you know. So if you don't match the I guess if you don't look like how you're supposed to look. So no, I can't wait to get you that story. I'm waiting for Clyde. Clyde, where you at, dog? Probably on. There you go. What's up, bro? I'm about to bring you on up. Ain't too much about how you feeling?
Pretty good, man. Just still running around. I just finished them shirts, bro.
I figured, man. Look, I've been running around to the very last second myself, man. So I definitely understand. What's up with you, dog? Everything going? How life treating you so far this week?
Life treating me pretty, man. Look, it's crazy, right? You already know this little situation I just went through, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, with my little family or whatever. So my cousin who lost her daughter, which is my little cousin, her girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, her boyfriend killed her sister today. Today, bro. Today.
Bro, what the man, you good, bro? That's
yeah. It's been crazy. Like, and my cousin was having a bad day today, and then her girl lost her sister because her boyfriend killed her. Like,
man, that's crazy, man. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. That's crazy. Say it again.
I said always seem to hit back to back.
Bro, like in threes. That's what they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you think it was just an old folks saying, but nah, that stuff comes true, bro. That stuff is facts. But nah, man, I don't know, bro. Like, dang, that's heavy, bro. That's heavy, dog.
Good question. Get right quick. Yeah.
KB on the second.
Trying to get
They
comfortable.
said we're gonna get her how we get her tonight. She'll be on the move. I think it's football practice tonight. She's out DC, so she's shooting her way back up to or to I think up towards Baltimore. So that's a nice little hike. So she's moving. See, I think she's home and settled now, but I think
she
she's saying she had a rough day. She's gonna show it.
I said we gonna get it how she got it. That's it.
Yeah. Like I told her I'm on the same boat right now, man. I'm trying to find the energy. I'm tired of I don't know what, bro. There's day 32 on our what's that? The dog culture challenge, man. That 32 days went by fast, man. I feel good. I ain't gonna lie, bro. So
I know it. And hey, you feeling good though? Like especially like working out, moving every day, them cold showers.
Man, eating right. You know what I'm saying? Like you definitely feel a difference. Like
see now that one I done slept up. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like the last past couple of weeks, like I done slept up with my as far as my dad go, cause I've been on the go so much. I've been having to eat was around, cause I ain't been sitting still. I've been back and forth from my city to where my family at. So you know they be putting food on the grill. So I be burger, hot dog here, a little chicken here. People, you know, when people pass away, they first thing people bring over there is fried chicken and sodas. so I ain't drink no sodas or nothing, but I've been definitely I done had some fried chicken. Actually, in the last past 2 weeks, I gained 4 pounds, so I'm about to get that back off.
So you gained 4?
Mm-hmm. It's coming back over though. I got
Hey, just stay consistent. That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. Hey, well, I gotta do a hop right into the joint, bro. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not nothing that's supposed to, like, I'm trying to dive into scientifically. I'm trying to rap about it because I enjoy, you know what I'm saying, like other people's perspectives of what different things are. You know what I'm saying? Even if I disagree, it's just cool to hear something different sometimes. And everybody can't do that.
Exactly, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, I guess if I like what you got, what if you had to explain the definition of love, bro, what's that? What is it? Like, what is love? Like, you can say, I'm talking. I ain't just talking about. I talk about it on the phone. You know what I'm saying, I ain't talking about this relationship. I'm talking about as a broad spectrum. Like, what it look like for your relationship? What it look like for you family wise? You know what I'm saying, like self love.
Like, I feel like honestly, there is no one definition for love because what love look like for me might not necessarily be what love look like for you.
Facts.
Like love for me might be like somebody being affectionate and just like showing me like reassurance. Like that could be one of my love languages. Like I might need reassurance. But for you, love could just be somebody that listen. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be a whole bunch of different things. And I feel like you never really figured love out. It's kind of one of them things where you stumble every single day trying to figure out how to improve on it. Like
what it look like, what it is, what it feel like.
Because even to this day, like what I thought was love, like just think about like when you young, when you first start dating and stuff like that, like what you think is love, it really don't be love. Like and then as you get hurt, you go through relationships, you change, you evolve as a person, your idea and your perception of what love is changes.
Yeah, facts. That's facts.
So I feel like it just depends on the person for real, and it changes like definitely like with relationships, with yourself, with family. It's all kinds of different things. Like for me, love and my family, it's kind of like hand in hand. Like I put them before myself. But at the same time, like I said, the older you get, the more you realize like you gotta love yourself too. So I gotta love myself enough to not overburden myself, like not to put my family in front of me to the point where I neglect myself. So it's like learning that too, because growing up, I always put other people before me to the point where I was the one that was like drained and tired, and because it felt like I was carrying everybody else's burdens, and everybody else around here looked like they living carefree. So as I got older, my perception of what love was changed because I had to adapt myself, and I had to change myself and change. You know what I'm saying? Like what I thought love was. So I feel like it could be a whole bunch of different things.
It ain't just one definition. I feel you on that one, bro. I think coming from the same space, we coming from a similar space. I had to learn what loving, I guess, the person you're dating or your significant other was. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
think I've always had an understanding what love for family was. You know, like that's no question. The love for kids, no question with that one. But I think I didn't really start like I've always been kind of aware. You know, looking for thinking I kind of headstrong and thinking what I knew love was, and kind of always moved from a love space. But I'm still learning like what love is. You know what I'm saying? That space because as even 10 years in the marriage, like you finding out like 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 the love you have for your significant other, the love you have for your kids, the love you have for your mom is similar, but it's different.
It's
You know what I'm
different.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's in that space where like I die for all you. You know what I'm saying?
But it's different. You feel me?
But it's different. It doesn't make more than the
Like
other. It's just different.
exactly like it's like growing up, you know what I'm saying? Most men I know who have their mom in their life, they love their mom unconditionally more than like any other woman in their life. But then when women come into their life, like especially once you get married, it's like you still love your mom the same, but
Yeah,
you gotta divide that love between your wife because that's your partner now. Like so it's not that your love for your mom like gets any worse, it's just it has to be kind of diverted. Kind of I don't know how to really explain that, but
yeah.
we love hard. We love our mothers hard, but once you got a woman in your life, it's like it got to change. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
you can't constantly give the love that you because then your wife gonna feel neglected or your woman gonna feel neglected. And I ain't saying just like nobody out here like with a typical girlfriend or nothing like that for like to put
Hold on one
them.
second. Hey, hold on 1 second, bro. I mean,
Do your thing. I'm about to trying to share this on this live right quick. See if we can get some people up here.
sorry about that. That's
You
my
good,
that's my mini me, man. That boy is persistent.
bro?
But the my bad. So you were saying like say go ahead, what you were saying again? Like he threw me off in the last few seconds. It's all good.
Nah, you good, bro. I was just saying, like, when it comes to love and like your parent, like your mom and your wife, it changes as you get older or as you get closer to your partner. It changes. It has to
Yeah, no,
change.
I mean,
Like you, once
I
you get like married, the same love you have, you gotta because you gotta split it. It's like you gotta share it. You know what I'm saying? That's the same way with like with your kids for real. Like
yeah,
even with your kids, you especially if you got more than one, you got to learn how to love each child equally. You can't love one more than you love the other one. Just like that's what I said. Love is one of them things that's constantly changing.
it, I agree with you. It is too, right? Like I think I disagree with you just a little bit, just off of like just off of 41 years now. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that I know the answer, but just my like I kind of came from a similar perspective when I was around your age too, right? But then I got into a space where like, man, really, like for me, I don't have to. It's not. I don't. It's not that I don't have to. I don't feel like I have to stretch my love one way or another. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I love my wife. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love everyone. I love everyone equally. You know what I'm saying? If I have there's enough love of me to kind of give around in that space to where I can love you without being demanded by you. You know what I'm saying? So it's if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
like like as far as like having boundaries. So I think like you go through your natural adjustments, you go through your growth, especially like especially with that separation of separating from your mom, especially if you were a single raised by a single mom. You know what I'm saying? That's
hmm
a real life adjustment for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But I think that in a healthy way and healthy relationships, both parties understand what kind of have to happen. You know what I'm saying? And then moms like I feel like that show true love and not selfishness. They understand the healthy aspect of that son moving on, you know, and creating a family and loving somebody and building his own thing outside of her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like,
For sure.
it was funny though, because my mom, like, when I got married, when I got sick, and I had put my wife down as the emergency contact. My mother was in the hospital with me, so mother was like, "Huh? You got hurt?" That?" And I was like, she started laughing because she kind of caught herself. But no, man, it's just realizing that, like, I have 6 kids. You know, I love all of them the same. You know, it may not be expressed the same way. I don't stress on what I not anymore on what, you know, try to meet expectations of what love looks like for somebody else. I get
Yeah.
what it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's in that I understand that, like, a lot of people demand more, need more, but especially after I got sick and after I had my mental break, I know what worrying can do for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of have an understanding of what worrying can get you, how sick can get you, the psychological aspect of it, the physiological aspect of it. It's it can get to a place, man, where you can kind of just you spiral out and lose control. So I don't break like looking at love like that to me is like looking at a math equation, right? And sometimes it's like the most difficult equation to solve. And I had that when I was in my people pleasing state. You know what I'm saying? Where I had to kind of like, and it wasn't even them demanding it. It was what I felt they deserved because I loved them. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I'm saying, like, my definition, like, especially relationship wise, with love got different because I define myself as a pleaser. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to make sure they're happy. If, you know, knowing something wrong, what's wrong? You all right? You good? And to them it's being annoying, but me it's out of genuine concern. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but you see both sides of it. How, like, to me, love is perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you raise is what you base your love off of. Like, how you versus you didn't get something that you want. You wanted something. You always wanted something, so then you strive for it. I think you always say you weren't loved much the way you wanted to be loved as a child. So now you're looking for this love in women, and you finding all the wrong women, but you're taking the intimate side of it in sex because that's the most popular thing you can get it through. That's the easiest way as a man to get it through. I watched a video the other day when it was saying something, man, like, I'm saying, like, yeah, I mean, like, me and my homie, when we meet, we dap up and we give like a little quick hug, you know what I'm saying? Like, but ain't no man walking to my man and say, "Hey, dog, you having a rough day?" Love you, brother. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a perfect world, it would be cool, but it's the men we don't get the affection and the intimacy that we want. So a lot of times we get caught up in looking for that in another woman. So you can love the fuck out of your woman, but you are not getting the intimacy and all that stuff you close, and that you know what I'm saying. And now you following your wants, and then somebody's giving it to you.
I'm one of the ones though. Like, my friends kind of tell you though, like, I'm one of the ones, like, I see it now because I'm more confident and comfortable in myself. I'm one of the ones that'll see a complete stranger look like they having a bad day, and I'd be like, you don't care if it's a guy or a male, it don't matter. A male or a female, it don't matter. And I'd be like, what's going on, man? Like, it look like going through something, everything. Like, I just had a conversation with a guy today at the Walmart. Like, he was out there just standing there, and he just looked like he lost his best friend. You know what I'm saying? And it turned out man was homeless or whatever. He was skeptical about asking for money. Like, it was just a whole big like deal. And I'm like, and I was in tune enough. I was in tune enough to realize that something ain't right with this guy right here. So I'm like, you all right? What's going on with you? He started telling me, broke down, shared a couple of tears. You know what I'm saying? I talked to him, gave him some encouraging words, and then kept it moving. Like, I don't, because some people like we grew up in a generation where it's like, as a guy, it's like, if you show that side of you, it's like you soft for something. Like.
But I'm talking about. I agree with you, right? I agree with you from that side. That side is easy. I'm talking about from the side when you having a bad day and somebody like, "Hey, bro, you having a bad? You all right?" You like, "I just need a hug."
Oh no!
You know what I'm saying? That like, you right? Like, that's like. I agree with you on that other side. I'm talking about in that space where you just like men like.
Just give me a hug, bro.
So right, like, so, but then the space that you would like to get it from. If things aren't set in the house in your relationship, if things are balanced, sometimes it turns into like a personal type of battle amongst each other, right? So now you are pushed away. You guys are kind of communicating and living together, but there's conflict and tension in the house, right? So that goes on for, let's say, that goes on for years. And a lot of men, man, they can't like your flesh is like, you know what I'm saying? Like it can get weak, especially if you put yourself in the wrong situations. So if you're not in a space of maturity to avoid a situation, it's easy for you to be in a relationship. You and your girl beef, get in the club, she say some foul stuff to you at that moment, and then all of a sudden you go out with your homeboy tonight, you find somebody that's interested, that's giving you conversation, that's interacting with you, that's interested in you, drinks flowing, and y'all end up home. It's situational awareness at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a lot of women think that when men cheat, that it's in a space of they disrespect you or they don't like you or they can't love you, but they can. But a lot of men feel like women feel. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're not getting the intimate interactions that you yearn for, just the validation that you seek. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff that come to plays in the confirmation, what the affirmations. You know what I'm saying? Like you start to feel like it makes it easy for somebody else to come and say two nice things. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't even have to be that major. And now you caught up in conversation. You know, and then you caught up in other stuff and going on for a little further than that. So, like a man, like love to me, you're right. It looks like many things for many people, right? Because then you can love people from afar too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
so it's not just one direction. What you feel about like what you think could happen though? But I'm crazy with this stuff, man. I be thinking like a lot of my friends, I know I've been through a lot of things and I've seen a lot of different, I've seen the bad sides of everybody, right? And so I never got to a space where I really judge. And I got friends, man, where like they really do. My friends it's all different backgrounds. You know what I'm saying? Like so, like legit friends I can call on and you know we can kick it, we can whatever. Like, they tell them anything about me, not be concerned. But looking at society, it's telling us that there's no love out there from other cultures. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no love out there from a hillbilly that wears a
Right.
Confederate flag shirt. But that's facts. If you live in the South, then you know kind of like, hey, bro, like it's some people you gotta watch out for in the mix of that shit. But it's some people that you know like that come rumble with you if you had to with the same attire on. It's a lot more of them than there is the ignorant ones. You know what I'm saying? So and then you get to the space where you look at the beef
Exactly.
between Hispanic and African Americans, you understand it, right? But then at the same time, when you sit back and look at your inner circle, bro, like just think about it. Your Latino family, your Hispanic family, do you feel like they feel any way near what they say, even in disagreement? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just love is such the core thing, right? Like to solve everything. But it's so cliche now because it's so you hear it so often that people just say, oh, you just need love. You only need love. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the end of the day, bro, like when you think about it, like if
I
you
think the
handle
perception, like,
what's
yeah.
up? What is
No,
that?
I was about to say like the perception of what love is in this generation is kind of watered down.
It's been watered down for at least 3 or 4 generations now. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you think about like let's listen to the story of what they say what your grandmother, your great grandmother was versus what your grandfather was, right? You always hear the side of it as where like the women suffered the most. But then you completely figured about the man too. A lot of those cases, those men were unhappy too and stayed and took care of the home, at least financially. You know what I'm saying? Like so, like it wasn't that somebody was getting it worse than the other. What it was the same situation going on now that was then, but what was the core thing that was holding everything together? It was that love, right? Because when you got that love, I said all the time, bro, that comes with patience, understanding. You know, like you don't judge, you don't criticize, you don't critique, you don't do a lot of the things that we do today in the mix of love. And also, you get into a space where you always hear like money is the root of all evil, bro. It's not. Capitalism is the root of all evil, right? Because now everybody's trying to capitalize off of something. So now situations that were even based off of love now are now transactional deals. You know what I'm
But
saying?
see, that's the misconception though, because money isn't the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. It's when you love money more than you love people, more than you love standards, like more than you love being a good, decent human. That's when it becomes a problem.
But it's not. You can't. The reason I say it's not money on my end because you can take money, right, and you can use money for the good of the people. You know what I'm saying? Like the structure of what money is used, the infrastructure in which we use money today for, the system that we use money is for, is the root of all evil, because somebody has to suffer, or somebody has to, you know what I'm saying, for someone to get the money. So what it does is now it puts you in a space of, hey, I gotta get it. I gotta get mine. I hope you get yours. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's more of a negative. Like, that's more like, I don't think that some people don't have to necessarily suffer, though people do suffer. I don't think that's necessarily a thing where like the rich get all the money and the poor have to suffer. It's kind of like everybody has the same opportunity to get to the money. Like, but will everybody get to the money is the question. No, they won't.
That's false, because I see where you're coming from, right? But it's false, because if you look up the definition of capitalism and look at what has to happen for capitalism to work, it has to be an underserved population. It has to be. It's no function of capitalism does not function.
It's most definitely. But then you take, but that's when that go into a whole nother conversation, when you got to go into systematic racism. Then you got to go into all the stuff that happened to Black people culturally that made us underdogs. And not just us though. You got Hispanics who are underdogs. You got white people who are underdogs. That's a whole totally different conversation where you got to go like way deeper. So like, I feel like that's something totally different. Like, especially when it comes to like capitalism. I understand how capitalism works. Like, it has to be, somebody has to be at the top controlling everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's how.
Yeah, but look at that real quick, bro. Like, somebody has to be at the top, but then it also has to be people at the bottom. So when I'm gonna say this, right, just think on it a little bit, right?
Because, comments in the chat too.
Huh?
Comments
in the chat. Let me see. My bad, y'all. I had it on full screen. Where we at? Donna, this is about to be good, I believe. What's up, Donna? How you feeling? Rashida, how you doing? Love is very complex. Let's see what you got. Donna says, this is about to be good. I believe love is an action word. It means nothing if that action ain't behind it. Now, I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? And that comes in every different way. I can be mad at you, but I'm still going to love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna be bad. I'm upset, but you're gonna know I love you. You're gonna know I love you. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Kay? Kay just hopped on. Kay looks sleepy. You sure you want to hop on tonight, Kay?
Y'all stay tuned in, man. We about to bring on Kay, man. She about to bring some insight from the women's standpoint. So y'all stay tuned. It's about to get real good.
Yeah, man. I'm about to bring Kay on right now. Here we go. You ready, Kay? All right. What up, Kate?
Hey.
What's happening?
You know, I ain't been feeling well the past couple of days, so y'all getting cat out the bed right now.
Bro, you got some rest, bro. You definitely got your rest. We was getting into it. You feeling a little bit better, though?
Yeah, I'm about 79%. I'm about 79%.
Them summer colds and them summer, they kick your tail. It's like you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
But did you get a chance to listen in?
I heard some of it. The part that I caught was something about I read the comments. So just catch me up to speed from just not all the way, but just from where you were talking about just now.
So what we were talking about just now is basically like capitalism is kind of the root of all evil. You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about money being the root of all evil. Sometimes Clyde disagreed, though. You know what I'm saying? I understood where you're coming from. But it was
because he said like money is the root of all evil, and I was saying that it's the love of money that's the root of all evil.
No, I said capitalism is the root of all evil. I said money is misperceived. You know what I'm saying? Like money is misperceived as the love is the root of all evil. But I'm saying capitalism because what's required for capitalism to work. And when you see something ran as a whole, it has no choice but to mimic itself down to the bottom. Like it's like look at how our country is ran like a business. And then you look at large businesses, and then you look at how small businesses operate. And then you look at how the entrepreneur operate on a smaller scale. And you look at how the household operate between now. What we say is the new conversation, which is needed because things have evolved. All right, the roles, right? And we have a conflict now with understanding what that role is, because now men can't sit home and say, I work all day and bring the money up. Women are saying, I'm working too. How can we do this together? Right. And a lot of us are ducking all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like both sides, men and women. And it's starting to a space where now it's like, all right, what can you do for me? All right, what can I do for you? All right, what are you willing to do versus what am I willing to do? But what I'm finding out now in marriage is like, bro, all that shit is wiped off the table. And when I look at it in a sense of how I love my wife or how I have to love my wife for things to work, it has to be in a sense of the same level that I love my mom, because my mom can do anything to piss me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can cuss me out. I can feel bad. I can feel like trash. But then 10 minutes later, hey, mom, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I have to have that love with my wife. But what's happening in today's society, where I say capitalism is getting to that space, because now a lot of people I hear say, what are you bringing to the table always? So what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? You know, like, is if I tell you that I'm bringing my ambition, I'm a man that can cook around the house, I can clean for you, I can do whatever I got to do, I can be nurturing, I can do all this other stuff, but I'm lacking on the money right now, but my vision is solid. Right. There's some women that would say, nah, fuck that, I ain't want none of it. Y'all don't want nothing to do with that right now. You got to be at a certain level. But are you cheating yourself from love at that point? You know what I'm saying? Like, and vice versa, if a man that gets a woman that say you're not on my level, or you're not whatever, right? How those conversations normally go. Are we cheating ourselves by asking somebody what are they bringing versus what can we get together? All right, let's sit down and let's chat. Let's talk about this. Like,
well, absolutely. I think the cheating ourselves part comes from looking at what you can bring instead of looking at who you are. Because when you look at what you can bring and you don't look at who you are, that deciphers it. You know, I think the last session we were speaking about compatibility. We were talking, and I think Clyde was saying, you know, I'm gonna give her 5 years and then I'm out. You know, if she ain't who I want her to be in 5 years, I'm out. You know, and we had a discussion on compatibility and how, you know, from the jump, it has to look like something that makes sense to you. So if money is what makes sense to you, and that's how you love, because, you know, when we start talking about love languages and we start talking about compatibility and those things, I'm a person that's, you know, that materialistic things, I don't value those things. Mm-hmm. So if your values don't line up with my values, then it's pointless. So I understand the part of the capitalism, you know, trickling its way into our relationships, because when we start, in my opinion, when we start looking at what can you bring, then we're making the relationship transactional, as opposed to who you are. You know, what can you bring? Can you provide this for me? Can you provide that for me? Traditionally, there wasn't a what were you bringing to the table. The man brought the table, the woman said it. You know, that's just the way it was. You know, the man brings the table, meaning he provides, like you said, he provides these things. And the female or the wife or the woman of the house is the one that, you know, accommodates these things or keeps these things in line. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think you had said, like, yeah, somebody had told me, like, yeah, my grandfather used to come home and give my grandmother his whole check. And it wasn't like my grandmother was frivolous enough to just go and spend the money. My grandmother distributed the money where my grandfather made the money. My grandmother distributed where it needed to go. Yeah. So, you know, that's, he set the table, he brought the table, she set it. And we're in a time where things that where values have displaced themselves from traditional things. Mm-hmm. And have become more of, you know, keeping up with the Joneses or things like that. So it is easier for capitalism to be in your relationship if you're a person who values materialistic things as opposed to valuing the person that you're with. Now, a lot of times that falls poorly on females. You want to know why? Because men, in my opinion, a lot of times you guys look at yourself and your value with a dollar sign. Like, if I can't buy my girl such and such, the next dude might do it. Or if I can't do this for my, so you compete with someone that's not even in the picture, as opposed to, and then females look at it the same way who value that. But if you want a woman that values you for, I bring a strong ambition to the table and I don't necessarily have the money right now, then that's who you need to be looking for. Don't go find the girl that's telling you I'm a gold digger.
That's facts. You're right.
Don't go try to change the girl that's telling you I'm a gold digger.
And facts. Stay in your lane.
You're trying to tell her, well, one day I'm gonna be able to provide for your gold digging desire, but right now, no. You know, you gotta
her where she at.
So what is the other side of that, where you got somebody that's conflicted, right? Because you know she believes in that space, but not all women come from I do believe some women cannot be materialistic, but also fall in the same mindset, right? Think of how women look at financial safety. A lot of women don't feel secure unless you have that financial security, that financial safety going on. So I agree with 1,000% on what you're saying, but I think like on the other spin of it too is that it's just difficult, man. It's just difficult to kind of gauge.
Well, for females, let me tell you this, here's the thing. We don't fear financial insecurity. We don't feel like it. Let me tell you why. Because we are damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. And the same thing with males. If we do go out and say, I don't need a man, I can make my own money, I can provide for myself, then we're masculine, we're in survival mode, we're not feminine enough, we're too independent. We're all these things that we've been forced to, all these things that we've been forced to be because of the position that we're in. Because if you can't provide for us, who's going to provide for us? But we have to look at the times. Again,
right.
Just said the grandfathers brought the table and the grandmothers set it. Nowadays, the grandfathers want you to sit at want you to help them bring it. They want you to help them bring the table. We got 50-50, all those things. So if that's what we're doing, then understand that roles have changed, whether it be gender roles, whether it be relationship roles, position roles. And that's, again, compatibility issues. You have to understand that, like, if you want a woman that's going to love you for your ambition, she has to be as ambitious. You can't want her to love you for ambition and then be mad because she's ambitious and independent and financially stable, and now you feel insignificant.
Fact.
No, then you can't want a woman. You can't want a woman who's ambitious. You can't want a woman who's ambitious and there all the time. Like, so it's like you got to pick your battles. You got to find that. That's why a lot of people mess up. They try to get with somebody who's not that perfect fit for them. Like, or they either lower their standards to a point where it's like, okay, I can settle for this person because I see the potential. People need to stop getting into relationships based off of potential and based off of what they see and what they get on a daily basis.
I mean, I agree, right? Because I think at some level we got to be potential, right? Because we never know somebody who they fully are when we first meet them. You know what I'm saying? We are.
I mean, slightly potential, but I don't mean like this person telling you that, like, look, I ain't really got too much to offer you right now. I'm coming to the table with my ambition, but then y'all date for 6-7 months. This person still ain't made no improvements yet. There's when
like,
you leave. You know what I'm saying?
Where is your ambition?
Where's your ambition, man? Like, what you do? I'm praying. Like, faith without works is dead.
That was more so what I was getting at. Exactly. So that's more so what I was trying to get at on the last video. The last time we was getting into like. Just say you with somebody and they say that they bring an ambition to the table, and then 5 years down the line, you're not seeing no growth. That's what I was more so getting at the last topic. But I see that you just got to get in a relationship with somebody who want what you want, or who can be what it is that you lack, and you can be what they lack.
You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that
it gotta be that balance. Like if you want a 50-50 relationship, then get you somebody who want to be in a 50-50 relationship. Stop trying to go find somebody who want to bring 20% and they want you to bring the 80, and you mad because she won't meet you with the 50 when she told you she was only a 20%er. Like, find that 50% person for you, and then everything will be smooth. Like,
so that's why I say a lot of your mental health issues are, even though we don't like to believe them, they are our faults, because we knew that woman ain't want nothing to do with us. We knew the effort that we put in that space to kind of get her back. That woman knew that man wasn't shit. That the sex was good, but hey, bro, she got 6 baby mamas. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for a reason.
Look, that's the same. But look, no shit.
For a reason.
No joke, but this ain't no shade to women. They're like, this ain't no shade to women, like, either though. This the same perception of women who they mess with a guy and the guy tell them like, I don't want no kids, but the girl feel like if she get pregnant by him, he gonna stay. Like, he already done told you he a dog for real from the beginning, but you want to have baby because you feel like you can keep him.
That's the part at 40, right, bro? Where I'm like, nah, everybody accountability, because you grown up, we grown as shit now. We know that when you lay down with somebody, man, the opportunity
from
of having a baby.
Jump. Not when you get pregnant, when you are about to have sex. It starts there.
Fuck you saying you don't want a kid, her saying she don't want a kid. Things change when that seed start growing. Things change, and hey, bro, it ain't no finger point at this point. It's y'all both decide to lay down together.
Exactly.
All sexual protection is 99.99999 for a reason. You know what I'm saying? That 0.1%.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but my thing is, if you getting involved with somebody, right, and they telling you like, look, I don't want no kids, and why would you even lay down with the person with unprotected? or put yourself in a predicament where you know you can have a child. Like I don't understand. Like people put themselves in those positions, and then when the baby come, they talking like the baby daddy ain't this, the baby daddy ain't that. Well, the baby daddy told you before you had a baby with him, he won't nothing. Like it's like that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
People,
I think that comes from a space
that's
too,
what
where
you
we
mean.
just on
Like,
two different planets. Because I think that's what gets us jammed up is that like our fantasies on both sides, what we think a woman should be, and a woman is the same thing about a man. So we all get jammed up, and I guess what you said earlier, man, is like what did you say? Not perspective. You said.
you said we get caught up in the what?
I can't think of the word. Not get caught up on a potential. I'm sorry.
Potential,
like,
yeah.
We all, honestly, you have to look at anything in that space as potential because, like I said, you ain't the person you want to be 15 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to extend that same grace, and that's where love comes into place, right? Because now it's like you can't throw no stones if you're going through your own shit now. Like, then you're a little bit more careful about how you judging and how you moving because, like, yeah, if you know anything about life, that hill can go fast, but it can drop down so much faster. And now who going to catch you? You know what I'm saying? Like now who going to genuinely catch you? Because genuine love feels better than somebody feeling bad for you. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion, man. We throwing it off. We out of order in the love tip because and that's where we start seeing those type of situations where people getting knocked up, right? Like where like two people will have these arguments even happening that if you told me you ain't want a baby, yesterday I did, but why are these conversations happening? Because we're looking for something in the wrong goddamn places. You know what I'm saying? Like we're looking to feel that love, we're looking to feel that intimacy. But if you ask any man, bro, like outside of a sex addict, like what does intimacy look like for you? They'll tell you the same thing women will tell you. It may not be as in detail, but we want the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's I think sometimes the argument gets thrown off and we go back to what's important because when everybody need to realize in the space we're like, bro, we don't know. None of us got the answers. None of this shit is working so far. You know what I'm saying? That we all saying it's working. So, but we're not going to figure it out by arguing about it. You know what I'm saying? Like we're going to figure it out by being empathetic. Like, all right, look, it was something that happened 10 years ago that made me fall in love with you. All right, like if I can remember that in that space there, and I go back to the person and the reason you were there at that point in time, like. What argument do I have right now? And why am I mad? What am I frustrated about?
That's the part where I said it goes back to, remembering that emotions are temporary and feelings are forever. Emotions are ever evolving. They're temporary. Emotions are I like you. You cool. You all right. Feelings are I love you. That's something that doesn't, when I can like you and not love you. And I can love you and not like you. You know what I'm saying? So love is the part that we have to remember when it comes to who we're dealing with. That's what we have to remember. Am I with this person because I like them, or am I with this person because I love them? And then that should be the question every time. And if that's the beginning of the question, if you're ever questioning yourself in whatever type of relationship that you are in with that person, whether it be your sibling, your mother, your spouse, your significant other, your children, like you said, you gotta, if it's love, you're going to love them even if you don't like them, and that it's easy to love someone and not like them at the same time, because like is a temporary feeling. I might like you right now, but 5 minutes from now, I might like you. You might do something to make me like you again. But if I love you right now, I'm gonna love you through this whole time that I don't like you. It's the same thing with our kids. Like, we when we remember that we have an obligation to our heart because we chose them, or we chose our kids. We chose to have them because there's options to not have them. So when we remember that we chose them, they did not ask to be here. We chose them. And that's the same with our parents. They chose to have us. They did not ask us. We did not ask to be here. So when we remember that we chose our significant other because we could have chose someone else. We had another choice to either be with them from the beginning or not, before we fell in love with them, before we made that choice. So when we chose them and we chose to love them, and that was where we were set at, we got to remember that, okay, I love you. Even when I don't like you, I love you.
But I think that
Even when I don't like you, I still want you to eat because I want you to be alive. Even
fact.
when I don't like you, I still want you to put these warm clothes on because I want you to survive.
Facts.
I want you here again because when I like you again, if and you not here, I'm gonna miss you
Yeah,
because I
right.
still loved you through the whole time. So,
Facts.
And that's love.
mm-hmm,
No, that's
mm-hmm.
facts though. That's no argument on that, man. And I think back to what Donna, you all caught up now. Okay, so like what Donna was saying, Donna De Niro was saying, like, this is about to be good. I believe love is an action word. It means nothing if that action ain't behind it. And it goes back to kind of what you said. Like, you have to act out in that space. It's not, but you know what that requires? That a lot of people are struggling with this in this society, selflessness.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
selfless.
selflessness. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's in a space where you're like, hey, okay, I get it, but what about me? Nah, like, yeah, I know. Nah, okay, what about you? What can I do about you? And hopefully you're in the same space of doing the same thing to me. That way we kind of like, we are balancing each other in that space, because now like, you just gotta, we don't have enough. We're missing something, man. We don't have enough trust. We don't have enough love. We don't have,
Grace.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's when you sit back and think about the ingredients of, like, bro, how could somebody's grandmother know this man had a family on the whole other side, but ain't bust no windows, ain't make no fuss, you know what I'm saying? Like, was okay with it. I tell you about everything about the family, but they ain't talk, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then you sit back and like look now, like, when all somebody got to do is look at somebody differently, you getting cussed out, fussed out, you got breaking dishes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's scary where things are now, because it's only going to get worse, because what we're teaching these kids is how we're building, we're raising more callous kids than we are, and we're pretty damn callous. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and we're an entitled society. The reason why you can get cussed out in 5 minutes instead of me sticking around is because I'm not my grandmother. I don't have to stay.
mm-hmm.
My grandmother was tied to you financially, as well as emotionally, as well as with her heart. I'm tied to you with my heart, but financially, remember, you brought me in, bringing in 50%. So now I'm confident that if I can't do nothing else, I can provide at least 50% for myself.
Facts.
So if I know that either I'm gonna be uncomfortable or miserable with you, or I'm gonna be uncomfortable and suffice with myself, knowing that all I got to do is be uncomfortable a little bit just for that other 50%, I'd rather be uncomfortable making that 50% by myself. I mean, making 100% by myself than making 50% with you, knowing that I don't need your 50%. Because I can go make 100. Again, it was different. You got to remember, grandmothers did not have the same. There's so many daycares. There's so many programs. There's, our society has made it easy for women to not need men. And that's the unfortunate part. Our society has made it easy for families to be broken. And that's the unfortunate part.
But it's not just women not needing men. It's men don't need women either. If you look at it, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're looking at kind of what, like, if you look at, so we can't talk about the quiet elephant in the room, right? You know what I'm saying? Like along back in those times too, when grandmothers, they needed us. Now a lot more of our men's society are in the position that women were in back then, right?
Yes.
But then what does love look like from that woman to that man in that space? Now that it's vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Again, that's what I told you. Once we start being in the position where we are in the 50%, or we're just as important. Our role is anywhere close to competition with yours. And that's because you put us in that. Now, if you bring me into the circumstances, say pay nothing, or you don't, all you have to do is maintain our home and blah blah blah, it looks different. But if you're saying, what do you bring to the table? Okay, so now I got to bring something to the table. Cool. Remember that. So just like you get to have your outside circumstances, if that's what you choose, because you feel like you got a part in this table. If we're only partners, because 50-50 means partners, that means we're equal partners. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With our grandparents, they were equal partners, but they were unequal partners. They were equal, but they were unequal. You had your equal part, but granddad didn't do grandma's part. So granddad wouldn't have had.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, it's facts.
Granddaddy will bringing the money in the house. He won't come home washing clothes.
You seen the movie The Color Purple?
It was cutting the grass though.
Prime example.
He was cutting the grass though.
He had everything he needed. She had nothing. All she had to do was be there and maintain all of this. He had the money, and look how he treated her just so she could have somewhere to stay with a roof over her head. Look what the position looked like. Nowadays, dudes are cohabitating with women. Oh, he moved into my place, or he came to live with me. It's more likely that they'll come and live with you than you go live with them. You want to know why? Because a lot of times women usually have a situation where they already have a child, so they are already when you come. Let's be real. We're over 30 years old. 9 out of 10 chance it's more likely that you'll find someone in the dating scene if you're not already compared with someone. If not already with someone, more times than not, when you go on a date, they have a child already. They already have some sort of responsibility as far as being a parent. So especially when it comes to women, that means that even if he does have children, most likely our living circumstances are probably bigger than his, because we have to accommodate someone living with us all the time, as opposed to he could have a 1-bedroom apartment and only get his kid on the weekend and have a pull-out couch. I gotta have a room for my kid every day. So if we try to go cohabitate, we moving in his 1-bedroom, or is he moving in with us?
So I'm not. I see where you're coming from, right? And that argument is valid. I agree. But I'm coming from a space of now, economically, men are, and statistically, if you just go look across the board, men, the employment rates and where they're employed are, and the income levels are drastically lower than what it was back then compared to our grandparents.
Absolutely.
So now what I was pretty much saying was, let's say you take that. So I was watching something on what was that? It was on Netflix, I think. It was something how to get rich, right? But the wife and the husband. The wife was a welder. The woman was they both decided that the husband was going to stay home. It was more beneficial for the husband to stay home. Husband stay home doing the male job. The woman's not the woman's job, but fulfilling his role as the home caretaker, doing all kinds of things, man, making sure the kids are straight. But now that she's in this role, she's talking to him in ways that she would never take him talking to her. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, like, what love look like as a blanket, like that argument that you give right there, right? If it was love involved in it from the get-go, that argument wouldn't happen, because it was what's understood doesn't have to be explained, right?
Right.
Now it's in that space where, like, all right, bet I got you. My expectations, I'm coming into this joint knowing I got you 100%, like I got you, right? But I also know life can happen at any moment. I think the security that men need is that knowing that when that moment comes, that you're going to be there with the same energy you was given when things were on point. And a lot of times, like when you're not in the position, it's a role shift, right? Because now women are in a position that they've never really had to they haven't known for generations, and men are in a situation now that they always looked at as demoralizing as far as to men and demeaning as far as their character and things like that. When you're here, they're like, bro, you washing clothes? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that. Like, or they're saying have your woman barefoot in the kitchen. Like, now that man is barefoot in the kitchen with the apron on and cooking. So now, like, everybody's like weighing on things that don't matter. Because at the end of the day, if you were in a space of like, I love you, when I'm saying I love you, especially in marriage, I really do mean them vows. And if I stay them vows, then it ain't nothing. It don't matter. 20%, 30%, we're gonna figure this shit out right there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, no, we're gonna figure this out right in there. So it's like a lot of these arguments are happening in a space where they aren't love based. You know what I'm saying? Like we're having these arguments in the space off of societal norms. You know what I'm saying?
Egos and
like
pride, and pride, and again, we're competing. And I said this before, like those societal norms that you were just speaking of, they have us in positions where we're competing with each other. And because we're competing with each other, we're constantly in that battle, that power struggle, when that should not be what love is about. As long as everything is getting met, meaning all the top tier needs are getting met, everything else should, I'm not going to say it's going to fall into place, because, as adults, we want our mate to pull their weight. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that weight may be, whether it be in the home, whether it be, we want our mate to pull their weight. Right. But, then once we start bringing on those other tentacles of like you said, compassion and understanding and grace, it doesn't look as hard. But then again, like you said, when you have certain circumstances coming about, like, whether it be a man, skip what I just said on that. So let's, even if we have like a man, like, a man that's gone to jail is less likely to be able to come home and get a job than, let's say, maybe a woman who went to jail and then has come home, and she'll probably get a job. She maybe not right away, but her record won't hinder her as much as a man's, because automatically men are looked at as more aggressive. Oh, whatever their crime was, it had to be bad. It had to be aggressive, as opposed to if a man and a woman, if the docket say theft on a man's and the docket says theft on a woman's, I think we said this before, and the man stole some stuff, it doesn't say, all case search says is, and that's what these jobs look at. They look at what the actual charge was. They don't look at why the charge. They don't care about it. So when they say, we pulled your background and we saw you had some theft, they don't say what happened. But I've had friends who, had a situation with their background, and they've gone to a job, and the job will say, what happened, and she'll be like, I got caught stealing some things because at the time I didn't have a job and I had children at home that needed XYZ. There's a different type of compassion for her charges. And, we're going to give you a chance, than his charges, where
if he did the same thing.
Right. It's automatically he's aggressive. So now we have the position where he might have a job, but it might not be up to par with what her job is. She might be making more than him. He got a job, but she might be making more than him. So it's not that he's not ambitious. It's just that he has things in the way.
Yeah. And so that goes back to the place where you have to understand who you're dating. You have to understand that situation. You have to understand psychology. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand why they think the way they think, where they came from. You got to understand. It's really not a space of diving into like we do. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why when we dive into it, it's kind of like it's kind of like it was when I had my kid at 19. I dived in here first. It's kind of like for like the relationship after that, I kind of do the same things. And I'm like, whoa, why do I keep getting the same reaction? What am I missing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's tough because like when you get back to like we just like discussing love, we already know that a lot of these conversations wouldn't be had. But then also at the same time, when you look at something like marriage, right, when that relationship, you realize like when you talk to these older people, man, they really don't start, and they tell you they really don't start knowing until they've been married 20, 30, 40 years, because they say it takes time to know somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think like we're doing everything backwards, because like if you look at something, you'll hear all the time, like relationships that somebody a date for 20 years, get married, first year out, they divorce. You know what I'm saying? But then you will see the same when you see somebody that been dating for a month, they went in a boom, and they've been married for 50, 60 years. Why is that? What's the difference? Like what?
Yeah, I want to know that secret recipe too.
You know what I mean? Like
that's a level of Jumanji that I don't understand.
Man, like so
say that one more time.
So which part? The part where
this part right there you just said about the comparison.
I forgot. I came out.
So he basically was saying, so here's the thing. I'll just use myself. I was in a relationship with my children's dad for 14 years.
Okay.
And I was literally a girlfriend for 14 years. I got with my fiance, and less than 6 months later, we were engaged. I don't know what I just said. I don't know what the secret sauce is for the recipe. I don't. Because the same person that I was in the relationship for 14 years is the same person that I am in the relationship that got me engaged in 6 months. That got me engaged in less than 6 months. But I think it just attests. But I think again, it goes back to compatibility. I was with someone that needed me, and I gave, but the reward was just for us to keep functioning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As opposed to me being with someone that needed me, and the reward was, okay, well, I want to keep. I'm choosing you now. You've been here. I'm going to choose you, and how I'm going to choose you is this way. Like, I don't know the secret recipe for that.
I'm about to hit it right on the head. Boom. The difference is, and the secret sauce to that whole equation is, your fiance now knew what he was looking for. Simple. It's simple. And when he found it, he locked it up. As simple as that. as a man, a lot of men, it's a lot of men and women who don't know what it is that they want because we don't spend time to learn our likes, our dislikes, what we looking for in a person. Like, so we just spend our life bouncing from person to person because this person right here got this one thing that I like, and then you got this other person right here who do this other thing that I like. We don't know how to look for those things in that one specific person. But your fiance, he knew what he was looking for when he found you, and it didn't take him long to discover it.
Yeah.
So that 6 months of dating, he knew. Like he was like, "Oh, this all the stuff I'm looking for." She checked off all the boxes. Let me go ahead and lock that up. I'm not looking for nothing else. It's simple.
But it's also a level of experimentation.
So what he told me actually was, you know, some people they. And I think that this is kind of what Dev was saying more recently. Like he said this, like, I want to be a husband. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people fall victim to, I want to be a husband, so I'm gonna try to make anything my wife. And some people say, I want to be, like, they identify themselves as a husband. And so therefore, every movement that they make is in retrospect of a husband. So of course you're going to attract someone who wants you to be a husband, who wants to be a wife, as opposed to someone who wants to be. And you know, maybe the secret sauce was me. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was giving off, I want to be a girlfriend for 14 years.
Yeah, fact.
And then finally, I gave off, I wanted to be a wife. You know what I'm saying? But that was the difference in the way they spoke. That was the difference in the way they spoke. You know, my ex always spoke that about us being together, but it was very. I don't think that it was spoken about us being married or us being literally until like the end when I was trying to leave. Then it was all of a sudden like, I was going to try to marry you. And
like what?
But it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing to him at first because you also at the same time, I ain't gonna necessarily put all the blame on him either. I can say that for you may not have required it because you stayed so long.
Right. And that's absolutely right. You know, again, I got complacent. Because just like I was saying, you know, you get used to having someone provide the things that you don't have. And it scares you sometimes to be like, I got to go be uncomfortable. I got to go be uncomfortable to go provide it all for myself. And so, you know, when I stopped being afraid of being uncomfortable to go provide, this is why I tell men and I tell my sons this the same time. I raise my sons in the aspect of being independent males. Like and it's not, I want you to be independent so you don't need no woman. I want you to be independent. I want you to be self-sufficient so that in the event something happens to whomever you're with and they can't pull in their end, and it doesn't have to be financially. If your wife breaks her arms and she can't cook, my kids know how to cook. My kids know how to cook. When I'm sick, I just been sick. When I tell you, my kids have been waiting on mommy hand and foot. Because, you know, and so I already know, like when their wife or their next, when they get sick, she's going to be okay. I raised my sons for someone else's daughter, you know, and that's what it is. Like I raised my children, I raised my boys to be not pleasers, not servers, but to be sufficient enough to be with someone else who's sufficient enough that when they pair up, look, you don't have to bring 50-50. Bring 100 and I'll bring 100.
But you doing that too is also showing them that it exists. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people aren't taught that side of life even exists. And when you hear a lot of people now about how they're raising their kids, and you hear a lot of women even back then that came from a situation where they had to stay. They're raising you off your trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't ever give your life to them. But really, like, the only way you want to make marriage work for 40 years is by understanding that man going to do some shit to you that you never thought he would do. That woman going to do some shit to you never thought she was going to do. She going to say some shit. So my cousin told me this a long time ago, man. Rest in peace, man. He came. I was hurt about the situation, and I was just down. And he like, hey, Dad, like, hey, man, you got a good heart, bro. He was like, but you gotta understand, man, it don't matter who that person is. You can love them like everything. You gotta expect something to happen. And when it don't happen, then you know what I'm saying, kind of go ahead. But he was like, he kind of go with it. He was like, you always gotta expect the unexpected. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that way it doesn't break you. You know what I'm saying? Because we see a lot of people broken because people are coming along and putting people's lives, man, where they need something that makes them feel good, right? And like you said, Kay, like you get used to that space where you get dependent on what you're able to do, whether that's financially, whether that's how you make you feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, so now you get into a space where you living off of how you're depending on how somebody else making you feel, right? So now you have a lack of love for yourself. Right. And people don't understand what that looks like, because it's like, I love myself. No, like, just because you go get your nails done don't mean you love yourself. You mean it means you covering up the dirt, you cover up the mud a little bit sometimes too. You know what I'm saying? Because like, what does self-love looks like? Then it has those boundaries in place where you're not willing to take those things that we talked about earlier on, right? Where that compatibility. I know this woman make $200,000 a year. I got a good idea. I make $30,000 a year. I ain't even gonna do that stress on myself right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if it's different in a space where it's a friend, we've been friends for years, and that goes on to a space where now she's successful and I'm still climbing up or whatever. I took a step back down and she wants to go in that space. I'm not going to let my ego get the best of me and not let me go there, because I feel like she's above me and vice versa. If we're going to go to that space, the love is going to go to the place where, all right, you want to make this work? I want to make this work. How are we going to make this work? Tell me about, like, how can I meet you halfway? Hopefully you asking me, how can you meet me halfway? You know what I'm saying? Like, in a space genuinely, and not in a space of how we look at it. We look at love so superficially now, man, that we missing the deeper part. We're looking at the place where, like, okay, yeah, looks mean some things to a lot of people, right? But then you got to understand, like, man, have you ever seen somebody, whether that's a man or a woman, that is loved by the opposite person, bro? They glow. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't saying that shit is perfect. It ain't saying that they don't have problems, but you can recognize a man who woman affirms him. You can recognize a woman who man affirms her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it becomes, they move differently, bro, and you move differently when you know you have that support. And I'm not saying these arguments aren't valid, but all these arguments that we have are based off of trauma, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like so, and it's supposed to be. We live in a fear-mongering society where it's supposed to put fear in us to divide us, and it's working, right? Because none of the shit that we're going through now is different, other than social media, where you can see. You reach out to a DM now, everybody ain't responding to your DM, but you can see it. You still ain't interacting and having these phone conversations. That's the only difference. Your choice, your weakness, your flesh is the reason why. Because now you're like, I'm not gonna lock that down because maybe I can find that thick Brazilian, Nah, like, fuck all that. That woman that just made you feel good, she just picked your ass up. I checked on your ass for the last 6 months when you was depressed. Like made sure you were good, bought you soup, all that other stuff, talked to your mom on a regular basis. You just overlooked her to go look past somebody that just told you she wants some Birkin bags. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to do that, buy the Birkin bags for the woman that was there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guarantee you it'd be a lot differently. There's no pressure there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's where men set ourselves up, because we want certain things. We let our brain lead us and our eyes lead us first, and then we get to a point where like, oh, this shit ain't fun no more. It's like when I bought, like, I learned a long time ago that cars are just cars, right? I worked hard. I bust my ass for an Infiniti. But I'm driving that motherfucker, like, that same night, I'm driving down 95 on the highway with the windows down, nice night. I'm like, wait a minute, like, bro, like, this shit ain't what it's hitting for. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I'm good, the leather soft, but I gotta pay $500 in insurance next month. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just when we take off, when we get back to a space of enjoying somebody for who they are, man. Like, you gonna automatically know who you vibing with. You ain't gonna force yourself in a position where you just enjoying people and it's just happening. We get into a space of less being selfish. You know what I'm saying? We get in a space of less selfishness. You know what I'm saying? Like, then it's in a space where, like, you can't, because that's what I'm learning what marriage is, bro. Like, and love is, because it's times that me and my wife be going at it. But if we going at it in the house and she step outside and somebody disrespect her, no, ain't nobody gonna know the difference. When we walk outside of this house, we might be a little tense, we might be not smiling, but we're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not in the space of, I hate you, I'm cussing you out. What'd you say, bro?
I said, when y'all step out that house, those problems left at the crib. Like, you ain't gonna let the outside world see
one
y'all.
band, one sound. You better get your shit together.
And then when we get back in the house, we'll pick it back up.
But that goes back to what your mother used to say. You better fix your face when we walk out this house. You want to know why? Because we don't need for people, and that's the reason why. So what we have to remember is that we let certain things in our relationship, and then they become an infestation for our relationship. So I always tell my fiance, and I tell you this all the time, I protect him from me all the time, because my previous self used to spaz. Like, I would go off, and never with him, but like, like I said, since I've been with him, I have, he's put me in a position where I don't have to talk to him like I used to talk to other people. So that's me protecting him from, protecting him from me. But when it comes down to it, though, because I do that, those reasons right there, it's certain things that we look at when we go on social media, and we start comparing them inside of our relationship, and that's what I mean about the infestations. So it's certain things I don't say to him, because if I don't say things like, you you acting like this, I ain't never had to deal with this shit in my last relationship. Why do I need to put that in this relationship? It's certain things that I don't bring up, because I don't want to plant certain seeds in this relationship, like you said, to have anything to do with my previous trauma. So he's a person that's on social media a lot. And I have to tell him sometimes, like, yo, put the phone down, because there's an algorithm, and you keep looking at them having these extravagant, lovey, romantic nights, but you keep forgetting that them shits is staged. That is that music playing in the background with that 20-second reel, that was staged, edited, and put together, and this is clips of what happened in that time, and they made it look good. But I'm sure that some point in time in that night, despite how beautiful that clip was, there was at least 3 arguments. And it doesn't mean like all out fights, but they didn't agree that whole night. At some point in time, she pissed him off and he kept it together, or he pissed her off and she kept it together for the sake of the night. You know what I'm saying?
So that's what you need. Like, you gotta have some type of conflict resolution. You gotta understand conflict.
You gotta remember that, the Bible speaks of love, saying that it's not boastful, it doesn't brag, it's not loud. Like, you gotta remember those things. And I think that we have gotten so far away from that's why our representation of what love's supposed to look like, based off of social media, based off television, based off TV shows, it is so far from the truth, because it's one-sided, number one, it's scripted, number two, and it is edited. And we think people are really like that in real life. We forget that that's only part of people, or part of who people can be in real life. Because in real life, people get pissed off. In real life, people get annoyed. In real life, people have bad days. And every day is not going to look like the soap opera.
That's why I gotta see how you act in conflict, right? I gotta see how like that tells me really a lot of what I need to know going, because if we're in a space of relationship, I've been dealing with you for months now. I already know that's kind of what I want to do. Now I'm not looking for something, but I'm kind of like looking for things that I haven't seen before, noticing things, right? Learning my surroundings. So I'm noticing what's triggering you. I'm noticing like the things you say to me and how you say it, the expectations and things like that, right? But then you get into, I notice how you talk to me, right? The biggest way, right? Like, so when you talk to me, the way you talk to me also lets me know your expectations, right? Because now it's in a space where I'm just learning, like I told you, like I'm learning 10 years in the marriage that our societal norms, the way we communicate, isn't how you communicate, right? Even if you think you're the best communicator, right? Because just think about some of the things that destroy like marriages, and these things destroy relationships, period, friendships, and all kinds of things, right? Because they call it the 4 horsemen, right? They're like the 4 horsemen in marriage. So you look at the thing where you like criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Just think about like when you break down what criticism is, it's like critiquing your partner, complaining about some of the things they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like in a space where it's making them feel demoralized or demeaning. Contempt is in a space where you're mocking them. You know what I'm saying? You just blowing them out. Like, I don't know, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all me or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then you go to a space of, it's defensiveness, and it's a lot of us naturally respond off of defensiveness. Like if I say, you don't even have to realize, you don't even know you're being triggered because you're thinking you just reacting. So somebody can say, you ain't wash your ass in 3 weeks. Like, just because you ain't see me don't mean I ain't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's true. You really ain't wash your ass in 3. Because so often we and I said this to my fiance. We had an issue, and I was like, you know what? I came to you with a conflict, and I came to you looking for you to reaffirm me, because I wasn't okay. I was overwhelmed. It was a whole lot going on, and he's normally really good there, but he wasn't. His tank wasn't full at the time. And so when he started speaking to me, he was like, well, you overwhelmed because you do such and such, and you did it. And I'm like,
That's
Wait,
not what
where's
I
my
wanted to
hug?
hear right
Where's
now.
my hug? And where's my okay, baby? Take a seat and sit down and try. And what do you need me to like? Where is that at? But see, because I was overwhelmed and because he was overwhelmed, both of us were ignoring that. Like, even though I'm in this space, I gotta pour something into him in order for him to pour something into me,
That's
and vice
facts.
versa. And vice,
Facts.
I gotta give him a little something to give to me because clearly this is not his normal self, and whatever that is that triggered him, and there was parts of me that realized that while I let him lead the relationship, it's clear that I'm also a leader in our relationship. When I'm not okay, he instantly is not okay, and it's because I'm always the strong one. I've always been seen as the
Not
strong one.
really. Not really. Yeah, that may have something to do with that, right? But it sounds like the type of man that he is. He's not okay because his woman isn't okay. It's that simple. You know what I'm
But
saying? Like,
yeah, but I understand. But see, that's fine if you can handle. Okay, she's not okay, but it's not. So when we first met, I was grieving really bad. I was grieving. My best friend had passed away. That was my kid's father. I was grieving, and so I had to remind him that like I'm gonna grieve. I need you to understand I'm gonna grieve.
yeah, yeah,
I don't want you to grieve with me. So if you see me in a space of being hurt, don't get in that space with me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
If I'm having a tantrum, don't have a tantrum with me. Like I need you to keep it together.
Take it.
So,
All right,
be-
babe. I got
so
you.
yes. So I've so if that was an expectation that was communicated to him. Like if I'm melting down, even like that's if because I'm the last. I'm usually the last one to melt down. So I think that when he realizes, oh my God, I think he personalizes some things too. I think he feels like if she got this far, what didn't I do in the middle as far as my job? Because you men are really big on sometimes your ego gets put into and
Mm-hmm.
you mask it as being the good man, but sometimes that's your ego too, because people are people. You cannot, I don't care how good you are to me, you can't decipher what my mood and my emotions are going to be
So,
all
so,
the
but so
time,
it's not
all the
always
time.
ego. It's not always ego, right? Because that's one thing that I've personally been struggling with. Like, man, my wife has been struggling with lately, right? And in my space, my wife is coming from the exact same space as you come from sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the ego. It's legit effort, right? But let's be real. Like, women are emotional. You know what I'm saying? So
So
trying
that's the
to,
part I was saying.
like
So
that's a double
so
dutch.
take yourself out the equation of saying my wife's not okay, and just understand that like that's not because if you're just taking yourself out the equation, like okay, she's not okay, and let me be here for. I ask him all the time, do you want solution or do you want support? When he comes to me and he's everywhere, I'm like, stop. Are you coming to me for solution or are you coming to me for support?
Yeah,
Because
but it's so
that
that
because if
but,
because and let me tell you how
but
solution and support can look two different ways. If he's like, babe, this bitch just came at me and hit it. I'm your woman, of course. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I'm a protector myself. Okay, do you want solution or support? Because solution might look like, well, this bitch is your kid's mother. So let's stop.
Hold on. Well, hey, sorry, my nephew over here, man. He about to see real me. He about to see Uncle Devin for real.
Because solution or support might look different for what the circumstances is, but when we got to take a pause and I got to pull myself out of it, because if I go into like who the bitch, who this, you know what I'm saying? It's your circumstance, and I got to give you support somehow, whether it be with solution or support. And so like I said, when I'm going through something, he knows I always just want support. I am my own
Yeah,
problem solver.
yeah, yeah,
If I come to you because here's me, I'm not the kind of person that'll sit there and be like, I don't know what to do. I know what to do. And if I come to you, I'm coming to you with my solution. Hey,
yeah. So
I'm in a
do you
bind.
let me
I
ask you
need
a question real quick.
XYZ and I need you to provide that for me.
Let me
I'm
ask
not one to come to you with the problem and then wait for you to figure it out. I'm coming to you with the problem and the solution that I need you to help me with.
yeah.
Let me
So I
slide in
got
when
you,
you
right? Let me ask you a question, right? So you the youngest?
Me, yeah.
Yeah. Is your fiance wait, do you have any siblings?
No. Wait a minute. Am I younger than him?
No, are you the youngest for our siblings?
Yes.
Does he have any siblings?
Yes.
where's he fall at? Youngest, oldest, middle?
He is. He's either. I can't remember if his one brother is older than him or younger than him.
Okay.
Because there's it's he has more than one sibling, but there's this one particular one. I don't remember if he's older than him. So he's either the second in line or the first in line.
Okay, so this is something that just pointed out to me because what you're saying is just like it's like almost identical, right? And that's why I'm telling you it's not ego. I'm telling you that like my wife's therapist pointed out, man, that like why she was having such a hard time when I would come from that direction, right? But I don't think a lot of times women realize how much of nurturers we are as men as well, right? In that space where we're not putting our ego on you, we're designed to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's in that space we're coming from, like, baby, what's wrong? Like, baby, well, you know, we're like, well, you don't have to stress about it, just pray about it, or something like that. In a space where in that space, we're trying to figure out where you are a lot of times when you're coming to us, it's the energy is the same either way. So we don't know whether it's if we ask in the triggers. You know what I'm saying? Like now,
right. Well, that's what I'm telling you. I made so a lot of males. I was in this debate, not debate, but this conversation one time, and the question that was posed was: are men logical or emotional thinkers, or are women logical or emotional thinkers? And they kind of polled it and they ran it up with some of and most of the women was like, oh, I think with my emotions, and most of the men was like, I'm a logical thinker, I think with my and so when I looked at it, like, I am a logical thinker. I don't think I'm always one who believe, and this is not always the best approach to make as a female when dealing with my man, because my man is a logical thinker. Yeah. So I'm always the one I'm always the one that's like, okay, let's take the feelings out of the facts and deal with what we have to deal with first. And he's like, well, sometimes the feelings are needed in the facts, and I'm like,
so look, I get what you said. Right? I was hold on one second. Like, I'm gonna close this part real quick. Like, I didn't close out the part where I was bringing the sibling age difference in, right? Because you're the younger child, so you're in a space of you're like, I'm fine, I don't need you on my back, I don't need you, I can figure this out, or let me give me this space or something like that, right? But he's coming in the space of protector as the oldest sibling. Even if he's the second oldest, he got to protect somebody underneath of him and in that space. So we're protective, we're making sure everybody's good. It's just sometimes it's expressed differently and more aggressively through men because we're not emotional that way. So we can't be like, all of us are in a space like, hey, baby, you okay? Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're in a space like, baby, you okay? And a lot of y'all don't want that because in that same space, you don't want to be touched. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and a lot of times what I'm finding out in my space is that, like, it's okay to not talk to me. You know what I'm saying? About what it is you're dealing with. And I may not be the one. Just let me know, like, I'm having a bad day. And my ego is not going to give me a space where it's going to be like, all right, well, if I hear you talking about it to your friend, I'm not taking it personally because I understand that I'm not the person at that moment that you need to talk to me. And I also realize that it's sometimes that you ain't the person I want to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just looking at things from an unselfish eye, because if you look at a space of anything like that, you kind of understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the biggest part of it. Clyde, go ahead, bro.
So I probably just more so add on to what you said. You didn't say exactly how I want to say it, but it's kind of the same thing. A lot of time, well, sometimes it's not ego. Sometimes it could be trauma as well. It could be from a place. It could be trauma.
And he expressed that his was. He expressed his was abandonment. I know. And so when he sees me out of order, he's like, oh. He does. He'll personalize it. Like, did I do something wrong? And are you going to leave or not? Are you going to leave? But is this going to get between us? And then, of course, his logic jumps in is, I got to fix this before we are broken. And I'm like, this is not a issue with us. Like, this isn't going to break us. I'm upset. But this is not a us thing. I know that. And like Dev said, this is when I have to remember, like, is this a circumstance that I can bring to him, or do I need to take this to my friends? Yeah. Because I know, like Dev said also, knowing his traumas, I know that this might trigger him, even though this doesn't have anything to do with him. Him as my man always wants to be in the know, and his protection over me is always trying to fix the things for me to be happy. And I get that part. But just like Clyde said, those sometimes in him trying to make sure I'm okay, he triggers himself. He triggers himself
Mm-hmm.
on, is he going to be sufficient enough to fix it? Because
Right.
I don't need you to, I'll tell you exactly how to fix it. Because today I'm ranting and I don't need you to go beat this nigga up. I need you to give me a hug. I'm telling you I need a
Facts.
hug. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Because I'm the one who I don't even need you to do that, because I already read him for filth. Like, whoever that dude was, or whoever I done already read them for filth. I just need you to calm me down, because I didn't you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm informing you so you're in the know, so that when you see me around here, you know what I'm saying, with these
It's like,
horns,
I need my fiance right now. I don't need to protect her. You know what
I
I'm
don't need, right.
saying?
And so a lot of people struggle there. And that's the part where I say things like, listen, is this a moment for support, or is
Mm-hmm.
this a moment for solution? Because
Right.
we have to
But
understand
I'm gonna keep it real though, okay? Because if I'm heated about some shit, right, and my wife said, "Is this a moment of support, or is this someone?" I don't know this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's a you thing. But see, again, remember what I just said? You got to remember to protect your wife from yourself in that moment,
That's fact.
because it's not her that you're upset with.
No,
So
no,
if
but I'm
it's
not saying in the
So,
space that
so
I'm
if she
upset.
says something to you in support, regardless of whether you've responded, whether it was which one you needed,
Yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah.
giving you support from the jump by asking, "Do you need support or solution?"
But I'm saying, like, when emotions are involved, the adrenaline rush and thing like that, it's not easy to calm down, and like, so sometimes even with, like, I'm telling you from experience, I asked, like, do you want to talk about it? And like, why you look at me like that? I was just asking, like, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, hey, I
So
didn't
for
finish the
you,
last one. Did I
support
say
might look different
stonewalling?
though.
Did I say stonewalling was the last four of the four horsemen,
You
as far
did.
as like shutting down
Yes.
things like that? So think about how those four things impact, and just what we, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because think about how that argument goes sometimes in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like, he trying to help, you getting mad at you helping, nothing is explained, because now you're stonewalling, and now it leaves space for assumptions to come into place. And now a lot of people, when you start, a lot of people start assuming rather than investigating. You know what I'm saying? Like what did I say to make you, what made you upset at that moment? I was coming from this space. What made you upset about what I said? And then you'll find out, like, ultimately, like, they may not even know at that moment, but it'll trigger something that they start thinking, and they come back to you a week later in the space of, well, you said this and that. So what I'm saying and all that, it requires a level of patience, right? A lot of the stuff that we're talking about, it requires a different level of patience. Like Kay said, like, you have to protect your wife from yourself, but that requires you to know yourself.
So yes, so let me tell you what the biggest thing that we humans lack.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear it being said at this point in time, thrown all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But emotional intelligence is something that will literally save us from arguments every single time. Now, it's the work that comes with it and the self-control that comes with it that is harder than actually acknowledging it. Because I've gotten to a space where we might be fussing, we might be going back and forth. And so I think we spoke about overstimulation. And like my emotional intelligence is very high. It is very high because, one, I studied psychology, one, and two, I've studied myself. I know my own triggers. I know how I trigger myself.
Yeah, facts.
So before I let someone else trigger me, I make sure I dial myself back initially, because it's not actually them triggering me. It's me letting myself go to let myself be triggered. So I always make sure that, one, I maintain my own self-control. That's not to say I'm not pissed off. It's just to say that I don't have to I don't have to fight fire with fire every time.
Exactly.
I don't, or
Exactly.
anytime, because honestly, I can deal with my own emotions with myself. I can be pissed off. I just can't talk to you when I'm pissed off, but I
Exactly.
have to communicate to you, hey, I'm overstimulated right now. And before we end up clashing, I need to take a step back and
Just
get
give me a
myself
moment.
together. But still, so here's the thing, that in reverting back to compatibility, one of the things that I needed to make sure I had was a mate that understood and was
Understood
able
that.
to help and was able to have their own self-control. And
Exactly.
I always press that to him. Like, listen, I know you and your ex, him and his ex-wife, I know you and your ex never experienced what it looked like to walk away
That's a part of
and say,
maturity,
you
you're
know
right.
what, we got to put a pin in this and figure this out when I've calmed down, because I'm not going to speak to you rationally. And
Right.
you not get in your feelings because she
And
said those
push.
words, as opposed to you hearing you. Just because you don't like the delivery doesn't mean the message wasn't valid.
It's just silent.
Facts.
doesn't
Facts.
doesn't mean that the message wasn't needed. And if we
Facts.
learn to have enough emotional intelligence to listen to the message and
Yeah, yeah,
stop
yeah.
getting upset with the
The
delivery,
delivery. We'll
then
stop argument.
I mean,
Stop
I
argument.
agree, but you have to be cognizant of the delivery sometimes too, because it goes back into that space. Some things are triggering,
again, but nope,
But
stop,
but
because
with that,
that comes back to you being cognizant of yourself.
yo, but
Because
your emotional
I'm also
intelligence.
being
because
realistic in the space
if
of
just because it triggered you does not mean that you still have to skip. Again, that's why I say take the feelings out the fact. Just because it pissed you off don't mean it's not true. You
no,
Right.
still got
that's
to
not
be
that's not.
accountable. You
I
still have to
agree.
be accountable in yourself for acknowledging the fact that, like, that shit hurt my feelings, but she was absolutely right.
Really
So
right.
let me
I
be mad at
agree.
my let me. I'm not saying I'm not mad. I'm
Yeah,
just saying I can't lash out on her because I'm in a sensitive and vulnerable
I mean,
space. And she
I'm
told
saying
me
that.
something that I needed to hear as opposed to telling me what I wanted to hear.
Exactly.
That's facts, right? But what I'm coming from in that space is you have to realize that has to be a two-way street, because I can't walk up to you one day and smack you in your face and dictate how you're gonna respond. You know what I'm saying? Like, so both people got to be in a space of that understanding. And realistically, like, we're not always in that space, and we can both be having a bad day the same day. But it takes that, like, you have to be able to, like, I believe when the ego comes into place in that space, that when you do fly off that end, right? When you do go off and you have that bad day, you got to be able to catch yourself. You have to understand that level of understanding. You have to have a level of what we're talking about, emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence isn't always it's work. You know what I'm saying? Some of this stuff are hardcore, what do they call impulses, right? And a lot of people have legit traumas where they just naturally fly. Like, wait, whoa, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a space where that's how my process looked. I would get triggered, and then because I wasn't expecting the trigger, and now we're both in a space, like, then you're like, whoa, why are we arguing? Like, hey, we both, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, I agree with you. Like, you have to have that cognizant ability to do that, but at the same time, like, life don't always happen in that space. Everybody can be hot-headed at some point, especially when you have strong personalities, and it's just, but your ability to understand yourself, right? So it goes back to me
Yeah.
of loving yourself first. If you love yourself, you understand yourself, right? A lot of people don't understand ourselves, and we don't understand how our traumas impact us. You know what I'm saying? So we don't understand that the way that like, we don't understand. For me, was like, if we get into an argument, it was a space where I would assume that she's leaving, right? But I never stopped to think about why I felt that. I always like, okay, that's what you feel like. That's what you go. But then when I broke down, I did the shadow work. Like, why do I feel that way? It got all the way back down into my first love relationship, where it was like I was mad at myself for not leaving before I left. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then that carried on to how you react in a space of defensiveness when you have an argument. Because if you're coming from a trauma of somebody, you're trying your best and you're doing everything you can, and this person's still not satisfied. When this situation starts to look familiar, even though the person is valid, it looks familiar to you in your trauma space. So you have to work through that space of, all right, why do I get mad about that? Is she right? Okay, yeah. Okay, this is what it is, but this is what it looks like. And now in this space where you have to communicate that space, you know what I'm saying? It's a process in that. It's not as simple as control all the time, because a lot of people are in that space of, like you said, a lot of people don't have that cognitive that level of intelligence. You know what I'm saying? So what you got, Clyde?
But I think that's the point she was trying to make, though. Like, she was trying to say that us as humans, you have to work on that before you can even get to that step. Like, in the first place, it all starts with self.
Yeah,
A lot of
you're right.
With
like,
yourself, right?
Same thing like you were saying. Like, you saying a lot of people say about self-care, like, oh, they go get their nails done, they get their feet done, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just covering up the dirt, they covering up the mud. Same way a lot of people say they love themselves, but they don't know themselves. You can't really love yourself. You can't really love yourself if you don't know yourself. And part of loving yourself means you break down your triggers, your coping skills, what you like,
Yeah.
what you don't like. You have to know all of these things before you can even properly love somebody else.
You know what that's called, Clyde? You know what that's called, Clyde? That's called isolation. You have to isolate.
You have to
down.
isolate yourself.
So let me tell you what your best medicine is. Isolation. When you're going, and this is why when you were like, no, it's not as easy as self-control. So here's the difference. Don't mistake self-control as impulses and actions. Self-control is not impulses, actions, and reactions. Self-control is you're in your space and you stay within yourself. Reactions and impulses, those are outwardly those are extroverted circumstances.
Yeah.
Your introverted self has to remember self-control. I'm not saying I ain't pissed off. My self-control means that my reaction won't be to cuss you the fuck out though.
Exactly.
My
you might spit on my face.
My intelligence is letting me know that I am pissed off. My self-control is telling me to walk away. You slap me in my face, my self-control, my impulse and my self-control are two totally different things. My self-control, one is going to recognize that I'm pissed off because you just put your hands on me. I'm valid there. I validated myself. So I've acknowledged I'm valid, and I'm going to and I despite I don't react, I'm feeling the exact feeling that I'm supposed to feel for you putting your hands on me. So that's the isolation part. Before we get to step 2, which is whatever your reaction is, you got to remember your self-control is all that processing time before whatever the next moment is.
That's
and
nice.
so I have learned to slow down my processing time, because if I don't, my reaction time would always be much faster than my processing time. I don't have to apologize as much as I used to. I don't have to. You want to know why? Because I make sure I slow myself down. But when I do apologize, I'm able to identify, acknowledge, and hold myself appropriately accountable for what I'm apologizing for. So I'm not just sitting there like, oh, my bad, I was yelling at you. That's not an apology. You know, that's a response. My apologies sound like isolating. You know what? When XYZ was said to me, it made me feel XYZ. And in processing that, I realized that that comes from a space from when I had been XYZ. And I know that that had nothing to do with you. So not only am I apologizing for I'm apologizing because I didn't talk to you and let you. It's it's layers to that. But the first layer has to start with you.
But that's the part.
What we don't do is spend enough time on that self-control part before we start making reactions.
So that's the part I was trying to bring light to, is like the layers of it. It's not simple for somebody is listening to this joint that's fresh. That's just like just reactive. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to happen overnight. It's in that space where I was talking about earlier, where you start off by you do the work, but then you still have them impulses, and you're still learning yourself, right? But you also have to understand that you give that grace to somebody else. But we also live in a society, man, who a majority of somebody don't have that ability, and it goes back to conflict resolution. That's the basic things you learn in conflict resolution and workshops, classes, and things like that, is to the accountable side of things. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of
accountability is number one. Accountability is number one.
But check this out though. Let's be real, right? And talk. Let's be the conversations that. Think about some of the conversations in the timing that you had, that someone had with you about accountability, right? And then think about some of the conversations where you had with people on their accountability. It's never a right time for that thing. It's never a right time. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can get caught in a space of where you go back and sit like, damn, no, you're right. But we live in a defensive ass society, man, where everybody's defending everything. And a lot of people aren't willing to take that time. And that's where you start to see, I feel like, too, as far as like I was in that space where I didn't want to spend that. I didn't even know it. I didn't want to spend that time by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've had long-term relationships, but then they were 6 months, 4 months after each other. So I've been in long-term relationships since I was 19. You know what I'm saying? Like, so with times in between that, but now at the age of 40, 38, 39, 38, 39, 40, I start to realize like, damn, like I never like had a time where I've learned myself. You know what I'm saying? So like it goes back to that space, like Kay said. Donna agrees. She said, "Yep, you gotta have that internal control." But that's the work that I was talking about early on when we first started these talks, man. As far as the amount of work that people don't see and don't acknowledge all the time, because you can be working, right? You can be in a space of working. That don't mean your significant other, your spouse, your mother, your son, you know, is working in that same space too. So that means you got to work on, all right, I'm working on myself, and I got to work on how I respond to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I got to expect you to still be in a space of responding to me the way you're used to. So that stuff right there, man, requires a level of accountability, a level of understanding, a level of patience, a level of non-convicting, a level of forgiveness.
Yes.
It goes into love. You know what I'm saying?
Once you start that process, what you just said right there, all that stuff, that's when you start putting down those healthy boundaries. That's when you like, if that, like you said, the person that you with might not be working on them same things as you, but see, now you know. So now you accountable. So now if you working on yourself and then you see that the other person is not, and they still triggering you, that lets you know that, okay, I gotta go.
This is not the person that's just like Clyde said, you know what you want. That's when you start learning what you want. You want someone who's gonna understand that, like, I was told one time by an ex, I know you're done when you stop arguing. And I was like, I don't like to argue. Like, if you think me arguing is me showing you I love you, we got a problem.
We got a problem. Like,
you know,
some people love that.
Yes,
a lot of people.
No. Some people are stimulated in that sense. They believe that is you showing them that you love them, like that. They believe that's you fighting for them. I'm like, bro, no. Please, it's not. It's not. You know, I shouldn't have to fight you in that way to show you that I love you. Like, I show you I love you by, you know, not saying things that are undermining to you. I show you that I love you by not talking to you like you're less than me, or not speaking to you like I don't believe in you, or that, you know, or when you upset me, not saying things that I know are going to hurt you on purpose because I temporarily am upset with you.
Right.
Facts. That's fact. Hey, real quick though, right? We at 145. I know we locations and all, but we know we don't go past. We ain't gonna go past 2. I know I ain't gonna say 5 more minutes. I know how we get, but we can't go. We can't go past 2 hours. We go. I said my goal was to keep it an hour, but now these conversations get a little good, man. Tonight we got a lot more viewers on than we usually have, so it's. I think we're saying some things that are kind of resonating with folks, man, that can kind of agree, and the arguments are valid. I think a lot of these arguments don't happen because a lot of people don't feel valid or confident in the space of saying this is how you make me feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, because whatever that response, but that's the only way you're gonna get to it. You gotta face that monster head on. But I think the most important thing that you highlighted is like, bro, you can't love no motherfucking body if you don't love yourself. And then think about how many people out here don't love themselves. Think how many people like when I sit back and I was telling Clyde earlier today on the phone that, man, I'm 32 days into a workout, right, into a challenge, and I got the first week was hard, but then everything else started to flow, and I started to find myself, right? I started to find that familiar feeling I was looking for after I got sick, but it required me to do something that I didn't feel like doing. You know what I'm saying? So it required me to do something that I didn't feel like doing, but that what I didn't feel like doing, man, it got me to a space where I feel so good, man, and it's not that reflects in. There's nothing in the space. There's been some things going down. I still handle it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still aware of like, okay, this is how it may impact me. This is how it has impacted me. This is where I recognize that I'm still numb. You know what I'm saying? In some places. So it's when you get into a space where you are at peace with who you are, you are at peace at what has happened, you are at peace at where you're going, that's where you start to get to a space of accountability, of understanding like, okay, what do I want? What do I want? I don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I like that. I'm not willing to put up with that, but I'll put up with this. And then that's the space where you start, like you said, we establish those boundaries now, where I'm not telling you got to follow these to this space, but if you want to be in my space and I need you to do this, if you don't understand that, then it's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt you too, but I got to let you go for my benefit because I almost killed myself from shit like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not ignorant to know that, like, this stuff, I'm cool now. I can't tell you what's going to happen 15 traumas from now in my future. So I can't let you drain what I have going on right now in that space. So it's a lot of people take that personal because now it's saying like, oh, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. So I'm like, no, I'm not asking you to do that because I want you to do that because of my ego. I'm telling you like, I need you to do this because that impacts me in this way and how you said that in this way. And I know this is how you are, but this is how I am. So how can we make this work together? And all right, if we can't work together that day, can you let me know so that I can carry you? And then when I'm not, I'll let you know so I can catch so vice versa. But when you put ourselves in every relationship argument about who's doing what, who's bringing who's on whose level, like it wipes all of that off the table because there's no room for that in that space. And now it
you
goes
with the wrong person.
I
say you with the wrong person. If y'all
arguing
about stuff like
and
that,
we're not waiting 5 years.
And we're not waiting for, you know what I'm saying? Like you know, but the tricky side of that is that then boom, you get married, right? And then let's say you get into a space where you've been the complacent one for the last 15 years of your marriage, and now you're getting active, but now your spouse is at the complacent stage of their life. Like you can't get mad that he was trying to chill when this is where you want. You have to figure out how you can find you and make you work in the space of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What you got, Clyde?
I don't know though, because I mean, you said your partner is complacent for 15 years, and then the roles change. Maybe
not so
your partner
roles change, but yeah, not so much the roles change.
What if it is
change. You've been bored sitting around. You done chill for 15 years. Now you realize, like, you know what? I got this opportunity. I'm gonna go.
Now I want to go hiking. I want to go skydiving. I want to go hang out with my boys now. Like, you know, you got some people that are homebodies, and then what do they call it? Midlife. They call it a midlife crisis, but really, it's you maturing and realizing, like, there's a difference between being alive and living. And some people wake up and want to start living after just being alive for however long. And sometimes they're with someone who they were, you know, like he said, you might be with someone for 15 years and you were just living. And now 15 years later, y'all still together, but you want to start. I mean, you were just alive. Yeah. And now 15 years later, you're still together, but you want to start living. And And you know, you've been okay with however whether they sometimes was out living and sometimes they was just chilling. You've been okay with whatever stages they were in, and now it's your turn. Now it's your turn to be like, listen, I want to go to Vegas with my homeboys and swing my nuts a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's where
I gotta understand that all these years you've been okay with whatever stage of life I grew into, and now it's your turn. And I can't be nervous, and I can't be insecure, and I can't be scared, and I can't be like, what you done switched up for? You know what I'm saying? I gotta support that.
Let me ask you this. Let me get both of y'all opinion on this, right? Because I enjoy this side of things because it's always different. Do you believe that, let me see if I can explain it right. Do you believe that you should date to get married? Or do you believe you should date, do you believe you should date to get married? And how long do you think that should take? What does that look like? Do you think that, so is dating to get married, is it dating a bunch of people? Is it dating one person in commitment? Like, what does that look like? Like, what do you think is the best option? Okay. Go ahead, Clyde.
No, I'm gonna let Clyde go.
I was like, Kayla, like you got that. Go ahead, Clyde.
Okay, well, I feel like I've heard people say that when you're in the dating phase, you're supposed to date multiple people. But me as a person, I can't get more than one person my time. Like, because once I'm start talking to one person, if I'm enjoying where it's going, my attention for anybody else is like cut off. Like I ain't even gonna be able to pay nobody else no mind. So I would say date. I believe personally date to get married. Somebody else may say date, be friends, and then see if marriage comes. But I feel like what you dating for? Like the end goal is ultimately to get married, right? So
yeah,
you dating to get married.
Yeah, facts.
If we not trying to get married, what we doing? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like you should date with a purpose, whatever the purpose is. Whether the purpose is to learn what your type is, whether the purpose is to learn if you want to be committed, because some people are not at a stage in their life where commitment comes to them naturally. Like they can't be monogamous. You know what I'm saying? Some people need, you know, to build a bear and have, you know, like you said, one person that's good at this and one person that's good at that. You know, I do believe that dating is you're supposed to date with a purpose. Prior to getting engaged, I had told him, like, you know, at this stage, I'm okay with never being a wife because that's not going to define who I am. I'm okay with everything I've learned about myself from my interactions with every individual that I dated. I'm okay with that because it has made me to the person where I know that, like, I get in commitments for a purpose. You know, it's not just because you look good. It's not just because you got money. It's not just because you have something to offer me. It's because I see myself with you for a purpose. So I think that you should always date for a purpose, whatever your purpose is, to date for that purpose. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's on you.
As long as you're meeting what it is that you're dating for, then, you know, date for that purpose. Like I said, if you're in your early 20s, or you're, you know, even before then, and you're dating just because you don't know people, like, you know, you like you said, everybody. All you know is yourself. All you can handle is, all you can honestly know is yourself. You don't know what other people's intentions are, even if they give you their representative. You know who you are. So you have to, you know, it's just like with everything else. You have to mature into what it is that you want. Now, is that everybody's perspective, and does that work the same with everyone? No. Some people do have a good enough fortune and fate that they meet the person they're supposed to be with the first time.
Yeah, nah, I like that. I agree, man. I agree, right? But I think I look at things like under a microscope too, right? So like you mentioned the part, like the age portion, like you said, like it's not particular to everyone, but I feel like there's a particular time within that time for, like, especially men, where you maturing and you're coming out of the high school years. So you got dudes that never had no attention, you know what I'm saying, high school. They become adults, they get attractive, and they don't know how to respond to the attention that's coming their way in that space. But then as women that do the same thing. So between the ages of like 18 and 29, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you find that person, you know, go for it, right? Like, you just know, because you know when you know. But if it's that phase where you're still not sure, be okay with taking that time to kind of feel people out, man, and kind of say, I don't know what I want right now, but I like a little bit of that. I like a little bit of that. I can't do that with that though. But but maybe, if you know what I'm saying, like, it's fine. It's okay to go after what you want at times, because I think a lot of times we talked about that space, but realizing that if what you want is outside of your lane and way out of your lane, you also got to realize what comes with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think dating in between the teenage years, of course, you're going to have puppy love, but I think throughout that, you got to be responsible between 18 and those years, because those years are really molding how your perspective on relationships, period. Those are your years that you can get hurt the most. A lot of those 18, 19 years are when a lot of men experience heartbreak, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that changed their perception of women for the rest of their life, because now they have been through, every girl done broke their heart because of the phase that women are in that phase of their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just a space of just like be patient, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be patient, because like the same way you need somebody wants to be needed. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you start playing with that, like, you playing with some heavy parts in life, and you are creating trauma. Like, it's naturally like when every relationship that I had that I broke up with, bro, I felt like somebody died, and it's the worst because they're still alive, and I might run into you every now and then. So when you're immature, you kind of like, bro, like, how do I deal with these feelings that I still have, and then still be, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then go into a space where you know it's not going to work. And that's where you find men getting all jammed up, and it looks like they don't care, because sometimes a lot of us are just confused. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're looking for something to accept us in that space a lot of times. So
exactly. Oh no, I was agreeing with you, like, for real. I was definitely agreeing with you. And I was about to say, like, a lot of younger people kind of like come to me, or they talking about relationships and stuff, and I kind of just tell them, like, look, you young, man, enjoy your life. I said, don't be out here having sex unprotected and having a bunch of kids, stuff like that. But look, man, you too young to be in a relationship forever right now. Like, figure out who you are, figure out your likes and dislikes. I just told my little cousins and them that, like, the other night, like, you 18, 19, 20, you don't even know if you really want to go to college yet. Like, live your life. Like, live your life.
You gotta stop and think about that. Like,
what your girlfriend doing, she's going to school here, you trying to go to school over here, and then she might not want you to go to this school because she want to hold you back here so you could be close. Live your life, man.
Yeah, I say that all the time when it comes to mine. Like I said, I have 3 sons, and my oldest ones, I tell them all the time, like, know yourself. There's been times, even as an adult, like in between relationships, when I can be honest and be like, I just want somebody to be. I just want a companion right now. I don't want a man. I don't want a commitment. I just want a companion. And that's because when you're with someone, you have to always consider them, and being mindful towards them, because you do hold someone else's energy in your hand, and same with theirs. And like there's been moments where I'm like, I don't feel like caring about someone else's feelings right now. I don't feel like tiptoeing around somebody's emotions right now. I don't feel like dialing myself back for someone right now. And I can't be in a relationship and have those thoughts. Like I have to be in a space where like I have those thoughts, but I still am able to do those things. And when I'm in the moments, when I have been in between relationships, and I was aware, like, what am I looking for in my next situation? Am I ready to go start caring about somebody's feelings again? Am I ready to start having the emotional intelligence of dialing myself back and being considerate to what I say? Or do I want to get this out? Do I want to get this savage out of me so that I can be settled when it's time? You just got to know what space you're in before you get into a circle. You got to know yourself first and where you're at with what you want to be in before you just go get into it. You can't just say, oh, I want to be in a relationship, but yet you don't want to be faithful. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, oh, I want to be in a relationship, but yet you don't want to communicate. I want to be in a relationship, but there's things that come with that. It's a huge responsibility, but you don't want to hold down any of the responsibility. No, you just want a companion. And there's people out here that are willing to do that. Like, oh, you just want to off? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Don't get upset when I'm fucking off with somebody else too, though. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
You got to know where you're at and what you want to be. So that's the part where I was saying date with a purpose, whatever your purpose is. Like,
no, that's fact, okay. But go back to what you said too, as far as knowing yourself, the mental it saves you from the mental health implications that come with that. Because if you don't know yourself, a lot of times you find yourself in that people pleasing state. You find yourself in, what do I need to do to make you happy? And you're not so focused on what do you need to make you happy.
And now you're not yourself.
You'll drain yourself, because then you find out you can't please nobody to the extent that you think that it would, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that's in that space where we stop setting ourselves up. And I think we had a great discussion on breaking the type of topic down. I'm good on what I gotta say for the night, man. Like, always we can finish it up. Hopefully we can get some other personalities on here as well for a quick show or something like that to kind of add to it. But our conversations are always dope, man. Donna, Rashida, thank you guys for commenting throughout the show and down there and tuning in. Hey, we out, y'all. All right.
Y'all, good night, y'all.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
We figured this part out now. Boop, boop, boop. Nope, not that one. There we go. Man, that was all right, man. Thank y'all for joining us, man. I'll see y'all on Sunday with my guy Reddy, turning lemons into lemonade, turning lemonade to lemons to lemonade. I'm tired, y'all. Forgive me. So I catch y'all on Sunday at 8:30. Good night, folks.